I take a picture of my car or something of my front yard, I'm worried if I put it on social media that like my front yard's on social media now. So
yeah, that's how I feel right now, because I don't know if you saw the picture. I don't know if I followed you on Instagram, but I put Black Lives Matter on the back of my car and posted it on social media. So I'm like, I don't know if this is a bad idea. I have gap insurance on my car if they mess with my car. So I mean,
oh, it's so sad. So I had somebody, when was this? This was, I want to say in May. I wrote in the back of my car, "Don't be racist." That's all I put. And
hell yeah.
somebody stopped. So I was turning left at, it was green through the intersection. I was turning left, so I slowed down. And somebody stopped at the green light, like when they're supposed to be going. They stopped at the green light, honked, wait until I looked over at them, and then they flipped me off.
That is so crazy, because the day that I did it, it was a Saturday morning, and I went to go pick up stuff for breakfast. It was the day that I put it on, and I drove, obviously, to Walmart in Riverdale, and somebody literally flipped me off. And I'm just like, what the heck? I told Sarah, I was like, I need to put the mace in my car. Like, I need to put something in my car.
Oh, I'm going to get, I want to get a rubber bullet gun. Because it's funny because I Googled it because I was like, if people are using those on protesters, then, it must not be that bad. And as soon as you Google it, I mean, because I've seen the injury, so I know it's that bad, but I'm just like, okay, but maybe like it couldn't kill somebody. Because of course, like me, I'm so tender that I'm like, I don't want to kill somebody that's trying to kill me. Like, I just want to, like, who the hell thinks that way? Only I would. So
I mean, I'm the same way, but
ridiculous. And so
it's fine.
I Googled it and was like, okay, so, like it would really hurt somebody, but it couldn't kill them. And the first thing that came up was that rubber bullets will kill somebody. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, I think it depends on how much PSI is in the cartridge.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm sure it has, some legality.
Just get a paintball gun.
Yeah. That'll do it.
That shit hurts, but I mean, it might scare them away a little bit.
I just want to stop them. That's really it. I just want to stop somebody and mace. I don't want to breathe in my own mace. I've thought about this at length.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I had a police taser in my car because I did Lyft and Uber for like the longest time, and it always scared the crap out of me. But I have no idea where it went, so might need to buy another one.
Do you have a crazy Lyft? I did Lyft for a minute. Do you have like a crazy Lyft or Uber story?
No, not really, because it just got to the point because I would drive all the way down to Salt Lake, and that was a waste of gas, and I just was like, I'm done. I'm over this.
Not if you got those airport ones. If you got those airport ones, those are sweet. Those people,
they're nice. Well, I did a couple of the airport ones, and that shit's insane though.
Yeah. I had somebody, the two specific incidents, and this one just got into a car accident in front of me. And of course that's enough to scare me. And I thought about it. I was like, well, of course, if I'm on the road more, like I'm more likely to get into a car accident. So
yeah, that
was already kind of scaring me. And then a couple weeks after that, we had somebody, I don't remember the name that they put under the ride was like a female name, feminine name. And I went to go pick up the person and it didn't, they weren't feminine looking. It was two males and they get in the car. But the weird thing is the one guy gets in the front seat and the other guy gets in the back seat and he has his backpack on his belly facing him like this. And I'm just like, this is where I die. Like I'm just driving like, this is where I die. And I'm like super friendly. Like how's your guys' day? Like, happy Friday. Like something, I don't even remember if it was Friday, something stupid. I'm just talking my way through this whole ride. And it was just to the next town. It was from Layton to Clearfield. Like it wasn't that far. But I remember they wanted to be, like he was telling me to pull over and drop him off at this like fish bait shop or something like across the street from the gas station. So like wherever was pinned he wasn't asking me to go there. He was asking me to go somewhere else. I'm like, it's like, these guys don't want their name like on a record or anything like that. And then Yeah, that one was scary. I did pick up somebody one time. Oh man, that's a funny story. Yeah, he like was with his girlfriend and had to some other girl paid for his lift and he was with another girl and like, can we drop her off like on the way? So she got out at some red light and then I continued to take him to other person's
Oh
house.
no. I actually do have one story. So I was in Salt Lake and I picked up these three guys and they were going to a house party. And remind you, this was like 3 years ago, but they asked if I could stop at Walmart so they could buy a 24 pack of beer. And I was like, it's on the way, you know. And they gave me like a $10 tip outside of Lyft. I was like, it's fine. I was
Yeah.
sitting in the parking lot while they were just roaming around in freaking Walmart.
Oh, I had one guy ask me to go in his apartment and take a shot with him. I was
Oh,
like, yeah, I'm gonna go
no,
take a shot while I'm driving
for
and go.
real.
It,
Are you gonna pay me?
that's where I die. That's where I would die. He's in that guy's
Yeah,
apartment.
I know. It's like that one freaking. I can't remember. Was it last year already? That girl that got murdered from like being dropped off from a Lyft driver.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
Yeah,
that story. I think that was last year. Yeah.
yeah,
I know this whole pandemic has just like
yeah.
everything's been a year now.
This whole freaking year has been a joke.
Yeah. We're not talking about what we came here to talk about, but we're having a conversation anyways. So,
Yes, we are having a conversation. It's fine.
yes. Well, it's so good to see you. I haven't
It's
seen
good
you.
to see you. I know I've seen you a couple times. I just didn't want to be awkward, so I didn't say
What?
anything. Because I mean,
Sure.
a lot of people like see me. Like I'll see people that we went to junior high with in like public, and it's just like, do I say hi? Like, will you recognize me?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's just like I just don't want to be awkward. So
I mean, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. I think that well, I don't know. I haven't seen you in so long. So like, yeah, I
it's been a
recognize you.
long time.
Yeah, so long. Oh, and then obviously your voice has changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so was it eighth grade, not ninth grade, eighth grade? I think I met you. I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
It was first year of us being, no, yeah, well, I think it was eighth grade that I first met you. Yeah, at North Davis. Yeah. It's been a long time.
good old North Davis.
Oh,
That
geez.
was
I
my favorite
know.
school. That was the best. And then
I
I
know.
was so bummed out I didn't go to the same school as you guys the next year.
Hmm. I left. I think I left the next year.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't finish. I didn't go to high school out here.
Where did
We
you
moved to, we moved to Hawaii.
go? What?
Yeah, I lived in Hawaii for like 6 years.
Oh, you're cool. Well,
You
okay.
didn't know that?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I'm going through my own stuff back then. Like
Yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say you up and dipped ninth grade.
Hmm. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, we moved. We won't get, no one cares about me. We won't get into my story, but we moved every year. I went to a different school every year since sixth grade. So, yeah, we
That's
just
freaking crazy.
lots of family drama.
Sounds like my childhood.
Super fun.
Yeah.
But and I guess like we're not here to bash our parents, but I explained to somebody it's really hard to not like I'm not trying to drag people's name through the dirt, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately those stories align with what my story is.
Yep.
So it's hard not to because I mean I love my parents, I love my family. I wish everything would work out for the best. But unfortunately that's not how it always is in some situations. So
No.
I'm just kind of I mean, I don't know about you, but I was lonely and suicidal when I didn't speak up about my abuse and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have like open up about who I was. And I was trying to, like, I really wanted
Find
to,
yourself.
yeah, I really wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be like the girls who had the good relationship with their moms and went out on mother-daughter dates and things like that. But like it just wasn't really the reality for me. So
I mean, that's the same with me. I literally just cut ties with my mom like a couple weeks ago.
it's hard.
So yeah, that I'll bring that up too when we're going through my timeline.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk because when I met you,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I don't know about you. I didn't fully know anything about my sexual orientation back then. And like I knew that I was attracted to boys and girls,
Mm-hmm.
but I like obviously as I grew up, I figured out where I aligned and that's fine.
What side of the fence you wanted to teeter on?
Pretty much. But
Just kidding.
I mean, I have such like a weird viewpoint
Hmm.
on what being attracted to people is and what actually defines like your sexual orientation. Like I feel like there's so much more that goes into it
Oh
because
yeah.
people and humans and what we can be attracted to or I guess technically aroused by
Hmm.
it just can depend on a lot of different things. It's not always about just the sexual orientation of that person.
Definitely
So
not.
yeah. So I guess my question is, because you first came out as a lesbian, you're born a girl,
Bisexual, yeah.
bisexual.
Hmm.
I get. Let me give your cliff notes, you guys. Sorry, this is Braeden.
Hi guys.
This is my friend Braeden. So as you can figure out, we went to school together.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I haven't talked to you in years. That's so sad that you, yeah, didn't. I mean, well, I guess I don't say hi to people at the movies because I'm like, I don't want to get into a conversation with them. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you were out to lunch. I think your boyfriend, husband. I don't know who
oh
he
no, not
was,
married. Yeah,
but
something. I don't know.
um, yeah. And then we just got back. I think, baby, when was that? When we saw Des at Noodles? Wasn't it like a year ago?
Of course
Yeah, it
we
was like,
at Noodles and Company.
yeah.
Shocker. That's where I live.
Yeah, we just got back from Pride. So that was my first Pride of being trans, like coming out as trans. So we just got back. So we were super hot and just wanted to eat and get home to the dogs. So
Yeah. Like I'm not
I
having
was
an
like,
awkward
oh,
conversation right now.
yeah, especially after not seeing you for that long. I mean, it's literally been, what are we? I mean, I'm 29. So I mean, eighth grade. So what, like 12, 13, 14?
That's crazy. Yeah. I have an 11-year-old now. Like,
That's crazy. I remember when I saw pictures of him being born.
yeah.
Well,
He's
not of him being born, but yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah, like when he was because that's when we were still that was MySpace days. That's when we were still
Hmm.
connected on the MySpace.
Yep.
And then once MySpace died, it took me a little bit to get back the Facebook group. And then you have one of those like meltdowns. Then you delete your Facebook.
Yep.
And then you gain another one.
Yeah. Yeah. I had plenty of those. Mine actually weren't Facebook, it was Instagram. So,
The
but
gram's more positive. Let's be honest, a little bit more.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
but
Tell
yeah,
me.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. Tell me your story.
So obviously, like we knew each other in sixth grade, or sorry, eighth grade. I was actually pushed out of the closet in sixth grade. Um, my stepmom took it upon herself to go through my room, and find a whole bunch of notes in my room. Um, because back then we didn't have cell phones. We kind of just wrote notes
Real talk.
back and forth. I think we had a couple too,
Oh
but
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, she like I said, took it upon herself, and next thing I know, she's running upstairs to tell my dad that I was gay, and pretty much just outed me to my dad.
So you knew.
And
Well,
oh yeah, I knew way before sixth grade. Yeah, it was scary, to kind of be outed like that, and to not necessarily know what even my sexuality was at the time.
yeah.
I just knew that I was attracted to females and what I thought at the time males. But um, and my dad told me that, at least I don't have to go out and buy a shotgun. So um, both, my stepmom had kind of a hard time with, me being gay or lesbian or bisexual at the time, but I she later on kind of supported it a little bit more. But my dad, he's a guy, he's not really going to care about females dating females. It's I mean, I think it's more of a dude thing, but um it it was hard, to be outed like that, but
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. I mean, I couldn't, and I mean, obviously I have a completely different story. I mean, there's situations where I asked my mother for, hey, I feel bad for throwing them under the bus, you guys. I'm sorry. Um, I asked her just like, hey, when do I change my underwear? Like, okay, wait, that sounds
hmm
terrible.
No, 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 no.
When do I go from wearing like little girl underwear to like,
Yeah,
because I knew women wore like thongs or different, like
yeah,
that didn't have princesses on them. Like I knew that that type of underwear existed, and it was
yeah.
very embarrassing. I remember I went and asked my mom one time. Sorry, the dogs would be
No,
barking.
you're fine.
I went and asked them one time, or my mom one time, like, what age do I switch into big girl underwear?
hmm
And she said, why? Are you a slut and have them bunched up your ass right now? And I was like, what? Like,
Dang.
and this is like newly after my parents' divorce. Like, I didn't, this was a completely different version of my parents that I had ever seen before. But
Yeah,
like, you automatically, and obviously not to pry, but it doesn't sound like you felt comfortable, even telling your parents that you had these thoughts. So you were already keeping it from them, and you're already living this like kind of secret life.
yeah. I hate the glare on my glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think more so, and I more so experienced gender dysphoria at a very young age. Um, even before I came out in sixth grade, like I would always want to cut my hair short. Like I would steal clothes from my brother and take him to school with me every morning. I put Braeden on all my school papers at school. And remind you, this is third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade that I was doing this. And it, I didn't understand what was wrong. Like I thought that there was something wrong with me, as far as like just being different. So I think I just categorized myself as being, obviously a tomboy and a lesbian, or bisexual. I think I categorized myself as being bisexual just to kind of normalize myself and to make myself feel better, just to know that I'm not that much different, I guess. And like it's like half half, you know.
Right.
I'm
Right.
half normal, I'm half not. And I mean back then, I mean this is 2000s when, being gay or being lesbian or whatever wasn't as normalized as it is now. And so like I said, I was going through a lot of stuff when I was a child that nobody knew about, and it was definitely hard because I didn't have that support system, and um I remember always wanting to go in the boys' bathroom. Like I would go out of class, like check out of class and like just stand in front of the boys' bathroom and just be like, okay, you can go in there now because everybody's in class. So I would just go in the guys' bathroom and go to the bathroom, and again, I didn't know what it was back then. So I definitely went through a lot of gender dysphoria as a kid. Um, and it was hard, and I remember because we growing up, we only had we had a bathtub downstairs. We didn't have like a shower. And I would just sit there in the bathtub and just think like, what is wrong with me? Like, why don't I love myself, my body? And I always imagined like having like a six pack and like having, that manly like body type. And I would just think to myself, like, what do I need to do to be the person that I was meant to be, and I don't know, it was just hard. I envied my brothers a lot. Um, I would like just stand there and watch them like do their hair and stuff and watch the clothes that they put on, and it's just like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I cut my hair short or you know be who I want to be, I guess, in a sense, so I don't know, it was rough, because I mean back then, like I said, I mean I never heard the word trans or transgender or transsexual until I turned 22. So I never heard that word
Yeah.
before. So this whole time I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm just different. I'm at this point, I came out as lesbian. And I dated guys in junior high and high school, and it still didn't feel right to me. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm just full on lesbian. So just took that title, I guess. So I don't know.
That's a hard. So I don't know if you've seen our interview with the mom of the trans child. Um,
Props to her, by the way. I am so
yeah.
happy that she came on your guys' platform and shared that story because I'll let you finish. Sorry. I'm just
No.
going off.
Well, no, I love your perspective on it, honestly.
Well, I recently found a book. I don't know if you've heard of it. I can't even remember the name of it, but the author was on Joe Rogan. And it was talking about the pandemic of teenage girls transitioning into transgenders, pretty much.
Mhm.
So I've been on a tangent with that the past couple of days.
No, and in fact, that's an episode that's interesting because a lot of some points that I took um, before I had that interview, I really wanted to see what some of the harsh things people were saying about like,
Mm-hmm.
well, why didn't you just normalize it for your kid? Why didn't you just do this? Why didn't? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
I um, Jess had put it really well in that interview. Um, the uh, the call to authenticity, it has everything. It's as subtle as a foghorn that is
Mm-hmm.
just, or an alarm or something like that. That just when you're authentically supposed to be something else, you can't ignore it, and it's been
Mm-mm.
something that has been going on your entire life. It's always and I think a lot of other people. For instance, I mean, one of my favorite influencers, Gary Vee, he straight up
I love
says,
him.
love him. He
Love him.
says like he's obsessed with work. He's obsessed with
Mm-hmm.
this type of work. He's obsessed with this type of grind. Like he loves doing that, and that's who he is. Some
Yeah.
people come on and they're like, "Hey, I'm a drummer and I've always been a drummer and constantly I'm tapping in my head and I want to make these beats and I want to be on stage and I want to do this." And with somebody, I mean, girls do it in a difference. I mean, some people are born without tatas and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, I can't focus. I need
Yeah.
like some sort of, or like, I mean, two different spectrum a little bit, but I feel like when people, they, again, they follow that authenticity that they need or absolutely have to do something with themselves or this is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
How do you ignore that for one, and for two, like how hard is that on a child to be looking at your body and like I need to change this. Like
Yep.
I mean we see people do this with their skin color too. Like there's extreme cases. So I mean to deny that people feel this way about sexuality and that it's like because again I was looking at some of the more harsher interviews, and some things are saying that it's the parents who are already gay around the kid swaying them, and it's like I can't imagine somebody would ever go up to a boy playing with boy toys and take away the boy toy and put a more
Mm-hmm.
feminine girl toy in front of, which I mean let's just be honest,
It
they're
doesn't
all
make
toys.
sense.
Like we've all labeled it the way it is. It's feminine, masculine, like, but yeah,
Yeah.
no one's like purposely trying to sway their kids one way or another. These stories are
Well, then it's just like I don't know. Like I don't know what it's like to have a child. Um, if I could have a child naturally, I'm sure that me and Sarah would, you know, and so I can't speak on that, but I can speak from the child's perspective.
right.
It's hard. It's hard to not know what's wrong and not like know what to do as far as like fixing yourself or like being normal. And it's like that rotting thought in the back of your mind, like you can literally not you can't do anything about it. And it's hard. And I, like I said, to just like, props to you. And I'm so happy to see a mother like you. And just, you know, it's hard. It's hard to see these parents not support their children, and not only in the like with gender or their sexuality. It's just like in general. You know, not a lot of parents do that. And props to you, for
Thank you.
real.
Well, and let's be clear, like my son's only 11. Like I got
Mm-hmm.
plenty of runway to, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't, if I say something too aggressive, I apologize where I need to. Like there's
Yeah.
definite situations where I'm not the most perfect mom, but I know what
Nobody's
it feels
perfect.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and I mean, let everybody, I feel like everybody, whether you're a parent or not, like we could all just close our eyes for a second and just imagine what it feels like to have the people who created us.
I'm about to have a cat in the
Oh man, of
listener.
course.
I know.
But yeah, to have, your parents who created you reject you or
Mm-hmm.
not feel comfortable enough to go and tell them a mistake, there,
Oh.
that starts in the I mean, gosh, there's this awful story I heard about this cheerleader who got pregnant and stayed silent about it the entire pregnancy. She gave birth at her house, buried the baby, and then a couple months later, getting on birth control, confide to a doctor about and then they found the baby's remains. Yeah, and it's
Oh
like,
my God.
imagine if that child felt um, more, well, this sounds bad because again, I don't know how much kids kind of do things. So I guess I'm dipping into some kind of dangerous territory there, because sometimes the best parents, there's scenarios where, you did everything you could. But especially, I mean, we're not talking about being trans or being gay as like something like this is not something that is even equivalent to burying a baby in a backyard.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah,
is
definitely not.
just living authentic. I guess I was trying to compare like feeling safe about telling, because like these are
Yeah.
serious issues, because I guess in a scenario where you wouldn't feel comfortable telling your parents that you're trans, or anything for that matter, like you get suicidal, you get
Mm-hmm.
sad, you get lonely.
Yeah.
um, we're humans are social creatures. We don't thrive when we're alone at all.
Mm-mm.
So sorry, there's my tangent.
No, you're good. And I agree with you. I mean, it's I don't know. It literally blows my mind to see parents, and I know religion, kind of plays a part in certain things, but there comes a point in time of, do you choose your religion or do you choose your blood child?
Right. Well,
And go ahead.
sorry, I'm
No,
awful.
you're good.
Obviously I listen to a
You're
lot of
good.
Gary Vee because I interrupt just like him. Like,
Same.
I I think that, oh man, and I'm losing my train of thought. Where'd it go? Nope, it's gone. Oh man,
This freaking earbud will not stay in my ear.
my thoughts won't stay in my head, so it's fine. Oh, it was a good one, but it's done gone. Okay, I don't
It
know.
done be gone.
Then be gone. It just, oh no, there it is. So, and I don't want to, because I feel like we're comparing these to like, okay, I feel like I have compared it to very weird cases. Um, but what is the point of having children if you're not down to, combat
Hmm.
whatever comes with that, and not combat, but accept being
Protect.
with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, protect. Well, and even more when your child comes out as trans or gay, like they have enough to combat. They don't need their parents in that as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, look at these scenarios, guys. This is, I tell my son all the time, like if this was something that he, I'll love you and your boyfriend. Tell him all the
Yeah.
time. And there's even scenarios where, trying to think of one in particular. I've got a few, but he loves to paint his face and he loves to do certain feminine things. And
Yeah.
like, he just loves doing things like painting his nails. Oh my gosh, he
Hmm.
loves painting his nails. But then when I hear the story, like Jess's interview, he doesn't love painting his nails as much as, you know, uh, Judy, that's literally her
Hmm.
name. Judy's life depended on painting her nails.
Yeah.
She's very passionate about doing that. And you just support your damn kids, you guys.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I don't know. I would obviously I would support our kids, and it's hard to think about because that's one of like the things that we go back and forth on, me and Sarah, about having kids is like, you know, Sarah was a lesbian. When we first got together, we identified as a lesbian couple. And kind of to go back just a little bit, again, I didn't know what trans was until I was 22.
Mhm.
I, you know, was following this girl, now male. His name was Aza, and he wanted just top surgery. I don't know what exactly he identified back then, but I'm like, oh my God, like, I could do this. Like, what do I need to do that? Because in my mind, I'm just like, okay, well, that's one step in my, you know, not goal, but like my livelihood in a sense.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was dating this girl. She's actually my ex-wife. And at the time, I kind of vaguely brought it up to her, like asked her questions like, oh, what do what would you do in this sense? Or how would you feel if I came out as trans? Or would you date a trans guy? And she wouldn't have it. She
Not at all.
said some disgusting things that I won't even say on here. Um,
Were you
and
married at the time?
we were at that time we were not. No. We were together for 5 years, and we were only married for one of those years. Um, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I really love this girl, and I'm gonna do anything to keep her. So I shoved it under the rug and just kind of swallowed it. And at that point, I was, super depressed, anxiety. I became really antisocial, um, because I wasn't comfortable with myself and I wasn't happy. Um, and it's crazy to think that, like, when I came out as trans, I thought back on my childhood and was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God, that happened. Well, crazy. Like, now look at me, kind of thing. Like, and being with her, it damaged me more. So, not only like the relationship aspect, but like just like the mental abuse that I received, just from myself, not only myself, but and her as well. But um, yeah, it's crazy. But when I met Sarah, it was in 2016, and we knew of each other before, the lesbian circle out here in Utah. Um, Her ex dated my ex-wife, and we told each other when we first started like hanging out, yeah, we're never gonna date. Like, we know each other's exes. Like, this isn't gonna happen. Well, a month later, we made it official. So,
No, that's
um,
not good, huh, guys?
yeah. And our first year, just coming out of my divorce and everything, I mean, it was she dealt with a lot with me. Not only like, I mean, I was a piece of crap for that year. I think more so because I didn't know really who I was, and the depression just took over and was like, okay, well, you're not good enough for this girl. Like, you just, you're not who you're meant to be. And I was really suicidal.
Which we're all
And
pieces of crap when we're depressed, by the
yeah,
way. So,
Yeah,
I
facts.
mean, well, that sounds of it. If you're depressed and you're listening, you're very worthy. You're not a piece of
Yeah,
crap. But to you,
no.
like when I think about me when I'm depressed, I'm like, ugh, if I could have taken a picture of what I looked like that day, like, ugh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
no, not proud.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't take care of myself. I, was staying up all hours of the night, I was being late to work, and depression works in crazy freaking ways. I can only imagine, but I mean, being with Sarah, it was that first year. I was like, okay, well, are you gonna stay with me if I come out as trans? And it was going back and forth in my mind for like that whole year, because at this point I've realized that I'm not the only one that feels like this. Like, I found influencers on YouTube and I followed a few people already on Instagram, and I'm just like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get to that point of having so much courage to come out as somebody that I am and that I've been this entire time, especially to Sarah, because at this point we were together for a year already.
Mhm.
Um, and, I kind of, again, vaguely brought it up, and we didn't really touch base on it much. But the night that I came out as trans to her, we were laying in bed, and I was like, I think I'm trans. And she was like, what? I was like, I think I'm trans. And as soon as I said that, like for the first time, I was happy. Like I immediately started smiling. Like I'm like, holy shit, that like sorry I can't if I can't swear, but
No, you're.
um um
I repeatedly tell people this is a mommy, not a kid show. Don't have your kids on
okay.
the show. Don't let your kids listen to the show. Sorry, but in.
But I mean, that first time that it came out of my mouth, I was just like, holy shit, like that's who I am. That's who I've been wanting to be. And
You
you know,
finally.
I yeah, and Sarah kind of got caught off guard with it at first, but and then she was like, obviously there was crying involved, because I told her, I said, I know you identify as a lesbian, and I'd understand if you left, like if you wanted to leave. And she said no. She was like, I'm not going anywhere. Oh, babe. She's all walking by.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, she was like, I'm not gonna leave you just for that purpose. She was like, I love you no matter what. And and I'm sure she would get some backlash on, because she's doesn't identify as a lesbian anymore. But I identify as a male, a heterosexual male now, and yeah, it's just it's crazy. She obviously had information that I didn't really realize at the time, of certain things that um testosterone could do to you. And she advised me like, hey, like make sure you know that, like, it could cause liver issues, and just I mean there's a whole list that it could do. But
yeah.
um and I said, I'm okay with that. If I risk all those things just to be who I am, I'm okay with that. And not a lot of people realize that you would go lengths to be the person that you're supposed to be.
I seen and this sound because I'm not trying to judge anybody. Aware of
Yeah.
that, and I mentioned it earlier. Like people when you're looking at yourself and you feel like you just need to look different, people will go to extreme lengths with that. One being, I'm not a fan of breast augmentation or
Hmm.
anything like that. I think that it's very scary to do to your body. And a lot of the girls know the risks before that happening,
Hmm.
but it doesn't matter. Like I just seen a post the other day where some girl said, I know all the risks, yada, yada,
Hmm.
yada. I want to get it done. And
Yeah.
and she's going for it. And to be fair, I mean, I don't know what that life's like. So I mean, I'm a little curious too, but I'm certainly not going to judge somebody on what they feel like they absolutely need to do to make them feel comfortable. And we do that as people. in our own cosmetic little ways in society, whether it's our hair, whether, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I touched base on this in that one video, and brushing your
Mm-hmm.
teeth is obviously something you should be doing anyways.
Yeah, that should be an automatic thing.
Yeah, you should be showering and brushing your teeth like no matter what. But
Yeah.
there are those things like that make you feel better, and we talk about that. Like, you buy clothes that are better fitted for you. You
Mm-hmm.
like, there are these little things that we do all the time to make ourselves feel better. So
Yeah.
I can completely understand. And in your scenario, I find it very interesting because a lot of people, because again, I looked at the darkest of the darkest of these type of interviews, and they'll say like, oh, okay, well then you're actually just a lesbian.
Yeah.
Oh, you're clearly not. Like, this is
Yeah.
his sat with you even when you were a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
You're still not you.
And I kind of want to make this clear. I didn't start transitioning until I was 26.
Wow,
So
in a while.
yeah, and a lot of people were like, because again, I didn't know what trans was
Right.
until 4 years prior to that, and it's just I had no social media influence. Obviously, because social media wasn't really a thing back then, but
Yeah.
um, like I want it to be known that it's hard for kids to go through that alone, and I mean, speaking to your platform, obviously, moms, if you have any kids that need like to sit down and talk, like if you're not comfortable talking to them or they're not comfortable talking to you, I'm more than happy to do so. Like I have an employee. Is like she's my best friend. I'll just put it at that. But she has a son and he identifies as bisexual. He's 13. No, he's 15 now. So, and she said that, sometimes it's hard for me to talk to him because I don't want to offend him and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, I can talk to him, and because this is bad to say, but I've been all of them. I've been straight at one point in my life. I was bisexual, lesbian, and trans. So, I mean, I've been all over the spectrum. It's fine.
It's all good. Well, and like I said when we started, like I feel like it's humans are very unique, and if we
Hmm.
actually looked at all the different, I mean, men love getting pedicures. Like, there's
I
so many
love it.
crossy things
Hmm.
that go into the spectrum of just being human and loving people, and I don't think all that has to do with just the
Your identity.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think that's one thing that I fight with myself the most. Um, and I'm sure I could speak for a lot of trans men out there. I mean, obviously, like my body, your mom. So female bodies are made to have children. Like big hips, like that's how I was. I was big hips, like I had big chest. I can't even remember the size that I was. I think I was a double D or something.
You serious?
And yeah, I was big.
That's unfair.
I lost 4 pounds when I got top surgery.
Oh, wow.
So it it's I don't know. It's crazy. It's definitely a crazy experience, and I just fight with myself on a daily basis about being masculine.
Yeah.
Um, like, oh, should I not wear this because it'll show off my curves or the curves that I still have. My hips have gone down. I've been on testosterone for almost, holy cow, my 3-year anniversary is here soon. um,
Congratulations.
Thanks. And painting my fingernails or getting judged because my nails are, painted, or oh, you're gonna know that I'm trans because my something about me is feminine.
And
So
which is so I'm such an interrupter. I'm
no,
sorry.
you're good. You're good. I'm the same way.
Everyone needs to just be freaking kind and keep your mouth shut. Like, even if you do think some messed up thought, I
Mm-hmm.
I I always reference like my friends' posts and everything, because like I just see things going on in the world and I'm like, how does that person do that? How did they
Mm-hmm.
say that to that person? Like, there's a lot of things that I'm like, even if you do think some crazy, stupid thought, keep it to yourself. Like
Yeah.
just keep it inside. No one needs to. I mean, I get the you're too skinny comments all the time. In fact, that is um I'm preaching on here. Be yourself. I wear long sleeves on camera now and sweaters and whatnot because I'm sick of being told that I'm too skinny. I eat so much and I eat so
That's
much.
literally your body type. Like you've been small and petite since I've known you since 8th grade. So
Yeah. Yeah. And as soon as I had my son, like I was a size 5 was the largest I got in my pregnancy.
yeah.
So I mean, and then
And
I went
that's
right back down to size 2 jeans. Like I've always
yeah.
just been that way. And don't worry, ladies. I wish that I could just magically give it to everybody too. But that doesn't mean like I can guarantee you I have gotten way more like, oh, you need to eat a hamburger or you need
That's
like
so
random
crazy.
comments. Oh,
Like
all
worry
the
about your
time.
damn self. Like quit worrying about everybody else.
It's so funny. There'll be even situations that I don't even think that people could turn into like a "you're skinny" joke, and they
Mm-hmm.
somehow do. Like it's just amazing. Like we'll be talking about snacking, and I'll mention that I love to snack, and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh yeah, but you can do it." It's like, thanks. I feel really good that I'm more skinny than you.
I mean, body types are just so different. And again, it goes back to everybody is different. Everybody is unique. You people don't have to sit there and judge. Like, and me and Sarah talk about this all the time, but like, and I'm sure you remember this, 90s kids were always outside, always playing like the street light games and like neighborhood games and stuff. Our generation was never on the internet. I don't think the internet came around until I was in like 5th grade, 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have my first cell phone until I was 16, which remind you was a flip phone, not an iPhone. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I had
you
my
know,
first cell phone at 16. I was talking to one of the staff members the other day and about when because my son wants a cell phone now. And I said,
hmm
absolutely, when you can pay for it.
yep,
Like,
that's exactly what my parents told me. When you could pay for it, you can have your own cell phone.
yeah, he has a little calling watch, and even more so, like he's always in a situation where he has a phone. I'm even
hmm
considering getting a landline just so there's something at the house as well.
hmm
But there's just no reason for him to have a cell phone right now, especially where
hmm
his little watch has calling capabilities.
hmm
Um, I mean, he just wants it for social media, and it's because he sees his friends on social media, and you're 11, dude. Like
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, it's an addiction, and
Oh
anything
yeah.
in too much is not good for you. So
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. Have you watched what was that show? That show on Netflix,
social
social.
dilemma,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mind blown.
But it's so true. I mean, and if just go
Well,
watch the
not,
social dilemma, you guys.
yeah.
Mark
Mind blown.
and some we all have to kind of realize okay, when you're scrolling your feed and you see that pop-up ad come on, like you know where it's coming from. You accept these terms all the time. So stay
Yeah.
off the social media if you don't want the targeted ads is the best thing I could say.
Yeah. For real. But yeah, it's been a crazy journey, not I don't think I've ever had bl- blood relatives be supportive of my transition.
Ever.
No.
Really?
So when I came out as gay or lesbian, my mom was okay with it. My dad was okay with it. But as soon as I told them that I was trans, how the table freaking turned.
Even your dad?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it's crazy too. I wish I would save the text, but like he always used to like play with me like as if I was just another a boy, like roughhouse with me, and and I loved it. I always wanted to play football growing up and never let me, and I wanted to play hockey and just do all these physical sports, but my dad like got caught off guard and like was like, you'll always be my little girl and you'll always be my daughter. And my mom said the same thing. Like she still to this day still calls me by my birth name and uses wrong pronouns and stuff. And for the longest time, and I've told you this, but like for the longest time, it didn't bother me. So if somebody misgenders me or calls me, female or uses my other name, like I'm okay with that to a certain extent.
Mhm.
Like even I mean myself included, I had the hardest time using pronouns, like male pronouns.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think 26 years of calling myself a female, and now I'm going to call myself a male. So I don't want, and I told you this via message, but I'm not like a lot of other trans people. A lot of trans people will get offended very quickly.
I've been yelled at. I didn't mean to. They were non-binary, and I
Hmm.
got yelled at. But that one is really hard because we're really dipping into things that have existed for years,
Hmm.
and things that are taught in school. So it's really hard, because I feel with the, and don't get me wrong, I totally get the whole non-binary thing. And in fact, it sounds very, I hate the word feminism because I
Hmm.
think that feminism is just equal.
Hmm.
So but I do think that the non-binary is very equal.
Yeah.
So as much as I agree with it, I didn't mean to call them a him.
Hmm.
And yeah, they corrected me pretty snobby. I was,
Yeah, no.
no, I haven't seen you in like 3 years.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry.
it's hard, like especially like at this point, Sarah's family one has been super supportive. Without Sarah and her family and my stepmom in my life, remind you, she's not even my stepmom anymore. Her and my dad got divorced years ago. Without them in my life, definitely wouldn't be here today. That's for sure.
People need people.
Yeah, and if it's not blood family, like you'll find your family, and family doesn't have to be blood related. But
Oh, I don't even think I'm trying to think of people related I talk to, and
mhm.
I don't have a lot. I mean, yeah, tell
Yeah,
my
no,
story.
neither do I
I'll
mean,
come on
my
your show.
mom, um, my mom lives in Ogden. I had my granny, my papa passed away a couple weeks ago, but
I'm sorry.
um, no, it's all right. That's a whole nother topic. I'll start crying if we talk about that.
But
Um, um, but and then my dad lives, I think, in Ohio, and my brother lives in Idaho, which remind you, me and him have gotten a lot closer. So he's been more supportive the last like 2 years, but he would poke and prod and stuff like that. But he's my brother, but
so your
um,
relationship with your brother is still okay?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It kind of just depleted because he moved to Idaho. I think like 2 years ago. So it was in the beginning of my transition. So I think I had just gotten top surgery when he left. Um, so yeah, I actually just saw him for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't seen him in like 2 years. So
I
it was nice.
I feel really rude. I kind of want to ask a question about your top surgery.
Okay,
Okay, so
don't
because
feel rude. It's very hard to offend me. You're good.
okay, good. Because I'm just kidding. And this is just a medical I mean, I guess I should be asking a doctor or looking this up more.
Hmm.
But I remember um, my grandma when I was younger, she had a breast reduction, and
Hmm.
then they grew back. And they came back. So I was wondering just like how that kind of works.
Hmm.
They're like a
Certain
make
procedure.
it not grow back. Like, is it?
Um,
How does that work?
I so I mean, I've heard both sides. I mean, I haven't had any issues with mine. I think more so some doctors will leave more tissue in there,
Hmm.
which is crazy to me that they would do because that gives you a higher chance of getting breast cancer still. Um, so I mean, after my surgery, I would show you guys, but after my surgery, they're called wings. So it's like this breast tissue that kind of just sits right here. So obviously females, like like how your breasts kind of go all the way back here under your armpit.
Yeah.
So what he did is he did lipo right here. So he sucked out like pretty much the crevice, and then cut right below where my breast was, and then kind of just stretched it down, and then put my nipples back on.
Nice.
So I've never had any issues. I think the more I lose weight, the less tissue is right there.
Mhm.
But I haven't had any issues with that as far as I go.
Well, and I'm sure
But
that, I mean, obviously the example that I'm comparing it to this, like it sounds like you take the tissue out, which in my grandma's
yeah,
scenario, they weren't taking all of the tissue out. So,
yeah, that might have been what it was too. And then, gaining weight, losing weight, that plays a big factor in it as well. Because with that part right there, I mean, it took a lot for me to like lose that and actually have flat right here.
mhm.
And I mean, that in itself was dysphoric, but because I'm like, I just have little tiny boobs right here and it's just annoying. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But now you feel comfortable enough to like take your shirt off and hang out and whatnot, or are you not there yet?
so here at home. Yeah, I mean, I sleep in basketball shorts and walk around shirtless all the time. Um, Last year I couldn't, because you have to go a whole year without having your scars in the sun. And then this year has just been a joke. So
Pandemic. Yeah. No
yeah.
one's
So
done.
I haven't walked around in public with my scars.
Do it.
So yeah.
You can
I
just
mean,
get a
I'll
bunch of
go.
tattoos over them too. Like no one's gonna know.
So okay, let me just kind of tell you. So I have my tattoo that I started, let me remind you, a year ago,
Uh-huh.
that I refused to finish because it hurts so bad. Um, so when you get top surgery, you're at risk of not having any filling in your chest at all.
Huh.
So the whole first year, or like 6 or 7 months that I after my top surgery, I didn't have any feeling. So I was like, okay, well, let me go get this tattoo before I, maybe someday get feeling back in my chest. Um, that day that she put the needle to my skin was the day that I got all my feeling back in my chest.
Ah.
Hmm.
Is it okay? But I mean, you can put like once they break the skin, you can put like numbing spray on it or something.
Yeah, that didn't work.
No? Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I
I
I
had well, and over scar tissue is so much worse. I have a little piece kind of, and it goes over a little bit of my stretch marks on my stomach, and that was, I mean, it was
horrible.
already hard enough getting my stomach tattooed, but
It's horrible.
yeah, but go over scar tissue, it's oh no.
Yeah, it was a joke because I wanted to get my nipples pierced too, and because I couldn't feel my nipples, and now I can feel my nipples, and I'm just like, not gonna do it. Sorry.
That's
But
so
and I can sit for a long time. I mean, I sat for 8.5 hours getting a whole arm sleeve, and I was fine. But as soon as she touched my chest, I'm like, I literally sat there for 2 hours. That's it.
that's it.
That's it. I was like, nope.
I don't know, 2 hours to me, I'm like, that's a long time. I was like, that's until I guess I'm a big sissy though. I can't sit through 2 hours. I'm like, after 2 hours, I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'm such a badass. Look at me.
I think I was even before that I don't know if you've ever gone through it, but if you sit for a certain amount of time, your body can only withstand so much pain. So your body will start giving out. Like I got super cold and it started shaking. I even ate, and I'm just like not even 2 hours in at this point, and I'm just like, I can't. I literally can't. My body just gave up. I was just like, I can't do it. So it was rough,
No,
but I'm in the process of covering the scars.
yeah, yeah. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything that no, there's tattoos covered up. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. And you can buy like scar cream and stuff, but it doesn't really take it all away. And I don't think I'm too dysphoric about it or kind of sensitive about it until I experience being out in public.
Yeah,
So right now I'm just used to walking around shirtless in front of Sarah and not public eye. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see
yeah.
how I feel once that happens.
Well, and like I mean, completely different scenario. Like I said, there's times where I don't even want to go because I'm like I look too skinny. Like I need to
Mm-hmm.
wear. There's times where I wear a dress because I don't like showing my legs because I think I'm too skinny. And
Yeah.
I'm healthy, like I'm fine, but
Yeah. People
it
just judge.
yeah.
And
And if I can give my viewers and you anything, it's we all need to care less. I had to have the sun with my talk. This talk with my son the other day. You know, it's hard being 11, and I feel like with him growing up, like of course, like your body's putting out more chemicals, and it's you're going through your growing pains. There's things that he needs to be really conscious about, just because the brain is so smart. Um, and I'm not sure it. I mean, I'm kind of getting the vibe that you felt this, you know, when you felt alone and you felt like,
mm-hmm.
you know, you really needed Sarah's family support. I mean, I completely get that. I am very dependent off of, you know, I went from having my family support and in my scenario, just a brief, like I feel like I was taking care of my family a lot.
Yeah.
And then finally, when I kind of started snapping back or sticking up for myself or pointing out things that were toxic or hurtful in our family,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that support anymore. And so when I stopped having my family support, I completely clung on to my boyfriend's family for support.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if I didn't have them, you know, I then again, I feel like it's just me and my son.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be. And I feel lucky and fortunate that I have a son and a reason to live for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this is, you know, the weird stigma with moms. Even though you have a child, like you don't stop being a person. You're still you.
Yeah.
um, you still have all of your same issues. And as you get older, you kind of realize that your parents had trauma and they
Yeah.
didn't have social media and they didn't have the resources that they needed either. And then you start realizing that they're kind of grown ass kids that don't know what they're doing. And then
Yeah.
everything kind of makes sense. And if we could all just get to the point where we care a little bit less what other people think, and we can find that good tribe that just
Mm-hmm.
because unfortunately sometimes it's not our parents, because like whatever it's been in their lives, whether it's not therapy or it's trauma or lack of um, empathy, like whatever their problem
Parenting
is,
skills.
right? Whatever their issue is, um, it makes, again, the people you created, like
Mm-hmm.
you guys created us, um, it makes them feel very alone. And I started this tangent. You know, I don't know if you felt suicidal during that time, but
Very much so.
yeah, I
And
it's hard.
it's crazy to me that, you know, that I've come this far. Like if you, I mean, yes, Sarah can vouch for me. Like even just 4 years ago to now, when we first got together, like if you guys look at like my Instagram and stuff, like go back like 3 or 4 years and see my smile just progress as I progress in my transition. And people used to comment about it all the time. Is like, you look so happy now, like you're actually smiling. And you know, and you knew me in junior high, like I was a happy person, you know, and I got along with everybody and I never had any issues with anybody. And you know, and nobody knew, probably because I didn't know what the hell I was going through, but you know, nobody knew what was going on. And it like I said before, I mean, depression works in crazy ways, because one day I'll be good. I mean, and I still suffer from depression, anxiety, and um, I think it's more so abandonment issues and you know, with my parents and some other stuff happening. But to have people around that support you no matter what is the biggest, like, I don't know, it's like beyond words, you know, because I was always on my own. Even when I was with Elle, like I felt like I was always taking care of her and, you know, always putting her needs before mine. And, you know, it's been that way since I was 15, 16, I have literally been on my own. So I think I was more of an independent person, and I was afraid to let anybody in. And, um, once Sarah came into my life, she kind of taught me how to accept who I am as a person, and to let my walls down, and to stop thinking that I'm not good enough for anybody. And I think a lot of people need that reassurance and that words of affirmation, like a lot of people do, and I don't think I've met one person that doesn't like words of affirmation.
Yeah.
um but I mean, if you know anybody that's trans, or that's going through this alone, like just make sure you guys tell them that they're loved and they're welcome and they're seen. I mean, anybody in the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, that's a whole nother episode. It's, and it hurts to see, because it, especially right now, people are able to just go say these mean one-lined comments about certain issues, and it's like, you have no idea.
No.
You have no idea. And even more so, I want to just point out what that community is fighting for, and it's to just be themselves. Like, it's,
Literally, to be human.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you're I don't know. You're just, I can't even compare it to anything, because it's human rights. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's not politics. It's human rights.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I've had some heated conversations, with people, and I mean, same with Black Lives. I mean, it's outrageous to me on what America is doing to America.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um
Ugh, give me. It's like, do we want to get started on that? Because I
I
certainly.
mean, it's and I don't know, you can cut this out, it doesn't matter, but I got into a heated conversation with a Black female on Instagram, or not Instagram, sorry, Twitter. And she told me to stop piggy what did she say, babe? Piggybacking off of her oppression. And I said, I'm not saying I know what it's like to be a Black person. I said, but the LGBTQ community goes through oppression every day. Yeah, I'm not saying it's as bad as being Black, but we have
We can
gone
empathize
through.
with it.
Yeah. And she, even a Black gay guy, he's been through both sides. He's gay and he's Black.
Yeah,
And he was like, he's not saying that we're similar or that we're the same. He's saying that we have both dealt with oppression.
yeah,
I mean, from the beginning of time. And it's just like, being gay isn't just a new thing, being trans isn't just a new thing, it's not a trend, it's not something that has just sprung up out of nowhere. Like, I don't know, it's crazy. Same with Black people are the ones who founded our country, founded the land. Like, we were all Black one time, just saying.
yeah. Well, and it's crazy to me, because obviously, like, there's extremes on all sides, and so it's like, if you say Black Lives Matter, then you agree with looting. Like, no, like, obviously there was some bit, like, we can look at some certain stories that you're like, okay, guys, what are
Mm-hmm.
you doing there? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, but we can look at a very, like, let's talk about the guy at the green light that just stopped to flip me off. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
sign just said, "Don't be racist." Like,
Yeah.
clearly, he's like,
You're
"Screw
racist.
you, I'm gonna be racist." Like, I mean, my sign didn't even say Black Lives Matter. It just said, "Don't be racist." Like, that could be
Yeah.
against any race. And so
Mm-hmm.
it just baffles me how hateful people can be, because, again, you're saying, hey, yeah, we understand that, and somebody, I mean, really, what that person has to understand what it does to her, and it does it to me every single time. I even if I say something well thought out on
Mm-hmm.
some post, it doesn't even matter
Mm-hmm.
how great my comment was. I am, like, stuck in this weird headspace, because now I've got notifications coming back to that comment to argue with me.
Mm-hmm.
And those people aren't delightful. They're not trying to
Mm-hmm.
be delightful. They're just trying to
Start a
argue.
fight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it literally, like, these are the people that I'm like, dude, you could start an online business selling candles and make so much money with the time that you argue with.
For real, and that's another thing too. And I don't have time to sit on social media and
Mhm.
fight. I especially now. I mean,
No
I don't know if
healthy
you've heard.
person does. If that's what
Yeah,
you're doing, you're not healthy.
yeah, and I've taken a break from like all social media. I mean, I used to stream on Twitch, pretty much every day, and I loved it. But this year has just been it. Everybody's online. Everybody's picking a fight. Everybody is spreading fake news and
Yeah.
all this BS, and it's toxic, it's lethal, and just to sit there and have an argument with somebody that isn't hearing your side it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Well,
But
and that's what I mean. Like when people, I don't even know how people can argue about one Black Lives Matter because, in all honesty, like some of the comments that I see with people like, oh, I'm not gonna watch football, I'm not gonna watch this. Like you had no problem when it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You had no
mm-hmm,
problem with them using their platform for that.
yeah,
Even more so, if we actually want to go to the history of it, and kneeling for a veteran is very respectful. Like
yep,
a lot of people have looked at that as a respectful sign. Like it is,
mm-hmm. Well,
and
it's just like bowing down to a king or a queen.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like,
And you know, we of course, like I don't believe in the looting. Like I totally don't
yeah,
believe in destroying other people's businesses or anything like that.
mm-hmm,
Um, but when we look at, you know, we're literally arguing with peaceful protesting. So I mean, it's really hard. That such a combative situation. It's
mm-hmm.
I'm explaining this all funny.
No, no, no,
It's
I,
just
I no I understand, and it's just you got to watch what you say around certain people, and it's just like it shouldn't be that way. It should have never been that way. And I tell Sarah all the time, like, the foundation of this country has built the racism,
yeah,
and we literally have to tear down the foundation of this country to have equality all around, from blacks to whites to immigrants to whatever. Like, we are all human, we are all bleed the same blood, we all breathe the same fucking air. Like we're all one, we're all the same. And it's crazy to me how people can treat other human beings that fucking breathe the
yeah.
same air.
It's crazy to me that different cities have different air laws. It's like we don't
No.
share the same air. Like that's really where the system gets me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because I think that humans evolve when we're in groups. Whether
Mm-hmm.
we, you know, it doesn't matter what religion you believe in, we can all look back at time and go, wow, they survived because
Yeah.
they were a group and they helped each other, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. And I think now we're in such a world where it's easy to be independent. I mean, let's be honest, if you and I had grown up in different countries, our future would not look the way it was if we had no family support. We
Mm-mm.
like our future is literally to get pregnant and just, I mean, not our future, but some girls' future in other countries. Like this is just their reality. They don't have the resources
That's
or
what
the
they were
government
born
support,
for. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that will just help them. Um, and I thank my lucky stars, you know, for where that I was born in such a developed country and that I have so many rights. I
Yeah.
mean, there's countries that I could move to right now, and even with all, you know, my resume the way it is, I could go to another country and then just laugh
Yeah.
at me being an independent woman.
Yeah.
So um, it's
I,
we're in a hard place. People just we're not going to evolve and get better with hate.
mm-mm.
So I the social dilemma, you know, points out a very good. We weren't evolved enough to find out what 10,000 people thought about us. Like
Yeah.
we just weren't.
Yeah.
So it comes back to mindset and how are you going to train your mind, and are you going to stay on the social media, and I mean we when we're looking at people hating on the LGBTQ community. Um, let's ask ourselves, what the hell's wrong with this person? Like, why are
Mm-hmm.
you so mad that I'm kissing this person? Why are you
Yeah.
so mad that I'm changing who I am to feel more comfortable? Like, don't you get
Yeah.
your hair cut? Don't you do things for
Mm-hmm.
yourself? Like, it's,
Like
it,
if and I say this all the time, and I've said it on social media as well, but if I could choose my birth sex at birth, I would have chosen to be a man.
yeah.
I wouldn't have ever chosen, and like Jess said in her video, like she didn't, like Judy didn't want a permanent target on her back.
Mhm.
The LGBTQ community and Black people, like they didn't choose to have a target on their back. Like I permanently have a target on my back. If either I'm outed to a wrong person, I refuse to use public restrooms because obviously I don't have bottom surgery, and I, especially living in Utah, um, it scares me, and I shouldn't have to be scared to use the public restroom
Yeah.
because I'm transgender.
Yeah. Well, it's, my heart breaks for you in this situation.
Well, and I honestly, I don't want pity, like, and I don't, and that sounded wrong, but male to females have it so much worse than trans men because in 2 months I got a full beard. I could pass in 2 months of me being on testosterone. My voice
Yeah.
started changing,
Now that I
but
think about it, because you're just like, I look at you different, I'm like, I could recognize you. You didn't have a beard in ninth grade.
no,
Like,
no. And I mean it took a lot for me to get to this point, but um you
yeah,
know,
that must be a lot harder for,
it is.
yeah,
And my heart breaks for them, and because I mean the T in LGBT is not normalized. And I think that's because being transgender, like on social media or in movies or whatever, that's not normalized.
yeah,
It's not talked about enough to have people realize, like, oh, this is a thing. Like, yes, this has been a thing for a long, long, long time. But it's not talked about. Like, you'll see, I mean, what was it? Boys Don't Cry was the first movie that I ever watched, and I can't even name 5 movies that I've seen that have transgenders in them.
I can
Like,
say, so one of my interviews, I was talking to, she runs a theater, and
mm-hmm,
we were talking about the community. And I was watching a show with my son the other day, the Babysitters Club, and
mm-hmm,
they have a trans boy in there,
yeah,
transitioning to a girl. And
yeah,
um, oh my gosh, it was a good scene. It was really fun to tell her, like, hey, this came because, like,
yeah,
I was watching the show with my son. This is something that's on
mm-hmm,
Netflix right now, so it is good. Like, but that's only one that I know of, to be honest. Like, there's not a
multiple.
lot.
Mm-hmm,
So yeah,
yeah, and I can name, I mean, 5 off the top of my head of having lesbian and gay people in it.
yeah. God, people
So,
freaked out. I seen this article that insinuated that SpongeBob was gay, and I totally
yeah,
hope that's true. Um, I mean,
I think it
but
was false, but I was so
probably.
excited when I saw that.
I
But
know, it was really,
yeah,
but yeah, I was super excited when I seen it too, and it's like, but people were like, Matt, it's like,
hmm,
why would you care? Like,
I know it's a freaking cartoon. Like,
well, yeah,
no, I could go on all night about this stuff,
oh
but
man, it's already been an hour. I always do this. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate your time so much, and
yeah,
I would love to talk to you again. Like, we'll check in with you and see how you're doing.
I'm
Uh,
totally down. I'm always down to talk.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Me too. I guess that's why I started a show.
I think that's why me and Sarah want to start a podcast because I'm a very social person. I can thrive in a group of people, and I can't do that right now.
Well, and I can tell you right now, Judy had said that, or at least said to her mom that
Hmm.
that's what helped her, come forward, and that's what helped Jess make that decision for her children because it had just gotten so bad for her that she had to. But side note, you guys, if you haven't seen our interview, we talked to a mom who has a trans child, and it's a very, very good interview. Go
It's
and
such
check
a good interview. I love it.
it. She
I've watched it twice already.
really,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really good.
My sister called me and was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy." And it's like there's just so many misconceptions, and again, people thinking that you guys are confused or that you don't know. It's like I've known since I was like 5. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been here, and and guess what? If you're on this journey and you say hypothetically you feel this way, and then you're like, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like that's
Yeah.
fine.
I
There's
think it,
no right or
oh,
wrong
go.
answers in your life.
Mm-hmm. I think more so with, you know, teenage girls wanting to transition. I think, have you, hold on, let me get the book. Because I'm planning like this whole series on this book because I am so frustrated and
Yeah.
like beyond like
And we'll
pissed
I'll add a
about it.
link to it too, you guys, in the description. So
So it's this book. I don't know if you've heard of it. It came out in July. It's by Abigail Schreier. And she pretty much talks about teenage girls wanting to get rid of pretty much their period and not deal with their mental health issues, so they're transitioning to males and being on hormones. And it's I haven't read the book. I've watched the podcast of Joe Rogan and her, and
hmm.
it's just I think I would be totally down. You don't have to put this in your show, but I would totally be down with us doing a segment on this
Yeah.
because watching Jess's interview, and you know, she stated that Judy knew when she was 3.
Yeah.
Like she cried and said, you know, why wasn't I born a girl? Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart. And again, I don't know what it's like to have children and for your child to come to you like that. But for this person to say that, she pretty much stated in the book saying that influencers are influencing teenage girls to transition
Which
to FTMs.
I don't know. I mean, you guys, let's just be straight here. You don't go look for support groups
Mm-mm.
unless you really need support. Like you don't even find yourself in those situations until you were at like rock bottom of your
Yep.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
So to even hear something like that, I'm kind of glad I didn't know about the interview now because like I guess I haven't looked at the worst of the worst interviews because
It it's bad.
hmm, yeah,
I
that's pretty egotistical to say, and especially where she hasn't experienced it. Um,
so and that was another thing that kind of irked me about this is she has no personal connection to any transgenders. She's a journalist for the Wall Street Journal.
hmm.
And I mean, I could go on about this because I've already started writing papers and stuff about it.
Yeah, we're gonna touch base.
Um,
In fact, I'm gonna
yeah,
have Kaylee get a hold of you after this, and we'll
I'm
just
totally down.
another interview because that's again, like I said, very egotistical, and that may be hard to. I mean, I'm sure she hears it all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to say that my experiences everyone experiences. I have no idea, and again, we
Yeah.
don't know that because I did see a post that was like, oh, I was a girl and I was more tomboy and blah blah. And you saw me in 8th grade. I was a complete tomboy. I wore my brother's clothes all the time.
I was just gonna say that you always wear like big ass hoodies and
Yeah,
like
I never did my hair. My hair was
yeah.
always the same, and my hair would always be the same because like I'd get out of the shower and I'd hurry and I put it back in a bun, and so it was
Mm-hmm.
just always the same. Um, yeah, I never dressed for gym because I was lazy.
Yeah. I
I didn't.
I hated getting dressed for gym.
I hated that. Well, okay, I hated that year of my life. Let's be honest. Like I was just an
Yeah.
angry kid. Like that was not a good year for me. But um, yeah, no, I was such a tomboy back then, and all I wanted was was Vans, and I wanted to learn how to skate. Like I wanted to
Big
do
ass skater
all these,
shoes.
but yeah, but to be honest with you, like I remember being a little girl
Mm-hmm.
and I remember looking at my mom and I remember thinking, why does she wear jeans? Like
Mm-hmm.
girls are supposed to wear dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm always gonna wear dresses. Like I remember thinking that. And then obviously, when I got older, I was like, oh, I like wearing comfy clothes and I like doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. And then now, of course, that's manifested to you guys, if I could wear PJs all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm non-binary, like if I could wear a sack, that would be me. Because to me, like there is no feminine, masculine, like it's just me being comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I look to society more feminine. That's just how it came out. But to other people, however you feel being comfortable, like whether
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people they love dressing and identifying and being very masculine and male, but they also dress and drag. And that's
Yeah.
like something that they just enjoy doing
Doing.
as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And let's, like, I don't know why I mix up my sentences all the time. Do you know how boring the world would be without actors? Like,
Facts.
who the hell would, and if we look into a lot of people that started in Broadway, like a lot of, um, okay, this isn't Broadway, but what is it Queen? The lead
Mm-hmm.
singer of Queen, like was gay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the best word for him, because if that man ever hops on my videos, like your name is sperm donor. But I remember I remember hearing that he was like obsessed with him, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously like after he came out, like he wasn't as obsessed with him. Like it's really sad that you hate his musical talents because
Yeah.
and it's not like he's out. Okay, well, I'm talking kind of ignorant because I don't know if he did anything bad, but like um, from my understanding, um, he's not raping children or hurting
Yeah.
people. He's just gay. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's and then we look at Michael Jackson and people literally defend this man and they're like
Yeah.
I had somebody ignorantly tell me that they didn't watch the documentary and then they proceeded to tell me that, well, and people just extort people for fame and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and have
That's
you
a lot
watched
of
the
people
documentary?
extorting him.
Yeah. Did you watch it by chance?
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Sarah watched it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, those kids have recorded lots of evidence, like, of him. Who calls an 8-year-old that many times to tell
Mm-hmm.
them that you love them and you want to spend time?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's way more evidence on the little boy's side of the story being true rather than the interviews of people trying to convince him, oh yeah, Michael was a ladies' man. Like that doesn't mean he didn't hurt children. Like let's just be straight.
Yeah. Well,
So
and I don't get me wrong. I love his music. I love
yeah.
it.
Oh, I love
I
his
don't.
music too.
I don't condone what he did to those kids. Because obviously I was abused as a child. So I mean, it's just like R. Kelly.
Oh yeah. Dang
Like
it. I
that's.
loved R. Kelly music.
I know.
Everybody did. Well, and in the documentary, like she points out, she's like, we're playing his stuff at graduations. Like it's a
Yeah.
serious deal. So and you don't
Especially the songs. If you actually listen to the lyrics and now know the situation with R. Kelly, like you're like, huh?
Well, I see. I like to because again, I interview people, so sometimes I'll look up like the world's cringiest interviews or
Mm-hmm.
interviews gone wrong.
Yeah.
There's one of them with his name Bobby Brown. I don't even know
Yeah.
the I feel good guy. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean, we idolize these people that are doing some pretty shady stuff, and
Admitting it in their music.
right, and then like let's look at this flip side because kind of just draw it back to where you were talking about the influencers influencing teenage
Mm-hmm.
girls. No teenage girl is going to look up trans or anything about these influencers unless they are feeling this way. And
Exactly.
like what?
I didn't look that up until I was about 90% sure on my already decision of who I was.
And you had internet for years.
Mm-hmm.
You were gay for years.
Yeah.
Like, so like tell me that influencers are influencing people to transition.
Here, when did hold on, let me Google this because this is gonna drive me nuts. When did the internet first come out?
It's a great question. Google came out, I think it was 98. No, is that true?
Okay, so the internet first was invented in 1960.
Okay. Okay, so the internet
Widely used.
wasn't. Sorry, we sound so uneducated, guys.
I know, for real.
But when was it like?
Um,
But I remember like we didn't have GPS. We had road maps.
yeah,
We like it was pretty restricted.
yeah. I mean, we had dial-up, for God's sake. Like, could you kind of a joke here?
I remember one
I
time.
can't imagine a child now in the day that we live in
Even
sitting at
having
a
to pay
dial-up
for that.
computer.
Yeah, I
They would chuck it out the window.
yeah. Google was made September 4th, 1998.
Okay,
So
so I was 7.
yeah, seven
So
was.
I was already going through gender dysphoria before Google even came out.
Hmm.
So I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, how you finding those influencers there?
Hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I look to a lot of influencers, not only on YouTube but on Instagram, like I said. But I mean, they help me out a lot. You know, they help me like find my true self, and these influencers are out here influencing children to become us,
Yeah,
or like to become gay or turn gay or whatever. Like, I am a strong believer in you were born gay, you were born in the wrong body, you know, you're born trans. Like I'm a strong believer in that. I don't think anybody can convince somebody to either be gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. I think it's in your DNA, it's in your blood. Like, you need to be who you want to be.
yeah,
So quit having people freaking convince you otherwise.
yeah. And stop caring, you guys. Just
Yeah.
find your tribe. They're out there. I feel like that's how I end a lot of these notes. Is it's go find your circle.
Yeah.
I was telling my boyfriend the other day, like I feel like, I mean, there's people that you kind of evolve from hanging out with, and
Mm-hmm.
I obviously I can't hang out with the same people that I played beer pong with. Like they don't want to talk about business ideas. And now
Mm-hmm.
I have a group of friends that get so stoked that if we have a glass of wine and we get start talking about business ideas, they're like, yeah, yeah, like let's go. And that's just what
See,
we
and
do.
I'm like that too. And we were just watching a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it, the Love Hour.
Mm-mm.
No, it's a good
So good.
podcast, but yeah, they were talking about how in couples you always have the inventor and then the mediator.
Hmm.
And I'm always on. I mean, I've done so many business ventures, it's freaking ridiculous because I'm trying to find where I go, like where I'm supposed to be.
Hmm.
You know, I've tried tinting, I've tried online businesses, I've tried, you know, streaming or whatever, and I'm the inventor. And I just always think of these like crazy ideas of starting up something. And Sarah's just like, "Are you sure? Like, are you really sure you want to do that?" But I mean, I get, you know, trying to or sitting down with a group of friends and being like, "Holy cow, like that sounds fucking awesome," or "Yeah, let's fucking do it." You know, so I'm totally down. I don't drink wine, but I'm totally down to sit with you
I
guys.
make myself sound cooler than I am. I don't drink that much wine either. But no, I'm totally down. And we live close enough that we all need to hang out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I just live in Roy, so
nice. Yeah,
I,
I'll we're hanging out.
yeah. After this stupid pandemic.
Yeah, we're supposed. I'll cut this out. Yeah, no, I'll keep it in. We were supposed to have a trunk or treat, and we're not having the trunk or treat. I don't feel safe enough to recover from a bad PR if something happens. I'm completely encouraging everybody like go trick or treating, like
Hmm.
do be safe, all you can do. But as far as us hosting the trunk or treat, I just wasn't ready for that pressure yet,
Yeah.
and had to kind of step back from it. So it's
Well, and
okay.
I mean, we had a scare. Sarah had a scare with COVID. You know, her immune system is horrible. You know, right now we're waiting to see if she needs gallbladder surgery, but um, you know, and it's scary. And you know, I didn't really take it seriously when it first hit.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, oh, yeah, it's freaking another sickness, cool, like another flu. and her dad actually works on base, and he's one of the higher ups. So when he tells us to do something, it's serious.
Yeah.
So and I couldn't see my grandpa for the past, before he passed, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy. It's been a crazy mess this
Yeah.
year.
Oh my gosh. And we won't talk about it again. My condolences. Grieving is
Mm-hmm.
hard. Stay close to your loved ones. And you guys, yeah, the pandemic is serious. Like it's not. I'm.
A hoax.
I was gonna say something mean, but I won't. So we'll just stop my thought process there. I am becoming a lot more. Wait, no, I can't even finish my sentence. It doesn't say I'm becoming better, but I can't even say my sentence right, so I'm not. Um, okay, cool. I will let you go. I'm so sorry.
Okay. For what?
I don't know, just keeping you on longer.
I'm not
Great
worried about it.
conversation. Thanks for being here with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. But if you want to touch base again, I'm totally down.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I will actually text you so you have my number.
Cool.
And then I guess you guys, I'll just say my closing. I hate
Okay.
it's like, so I don't know if you've seen all the videos, but like how this came to be and how it came to be an event and like now it's this. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be on camera. And the
Mm-hmm.
first year of my business, I was not PR and I didn't have to be that guy,
Mm-hmm.
but now I do. And as it's so true in entrepreneurship, nobody cares about your business more than you.
Yep.
And
Facts.
I am passionate about people being kind to each other because I grew up pretty shitty. So I think that
Same.
we all just need to and put that out there because again,
Mm-hmm.
people they go look for these support groups when they're at rock bottom and they absolutely need it. So people
Yep.
are coming to you like that's they need the help. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good to put it out there and not be selfish about your own information, even though I hate my face and I hate my voice and I don't want to.
Same.
So
I know that's what we were talking about, with our podcast and stuff. Sarah hates being on camera. But with me streaming, I think it helped a little bit. But I think with the podcast, I think it'll help a lot.
yeah, it's honestly, especially starting my business, it's something that I just had to get used to and started in networking. And you have to get up in front of a group of different business owners, like
Mm-hmm.
a group of 40, and do a 30-second commercial. And you have to stand up in the room and you're the only one standing and you do a 30-second commercial and then you sit back down. And of course, like I'm shaking before I go on and I'm sweating. And then as soon as it happens, it's like, okay, I can slowly hear other things again. Like,
Yeah.
but my
Yeah.
stage fright, even when I was in choir, like I was in choir going out with like a group of 50 kids. And I remember almost like peeing my pants because I was so scared.
Mm-mm.
Like I just don't like being on
On
stage.
camera.
But I believe that it just came to a point where I was just so sick of the world and what it is and so like and that's kind of where the event came from because I wanted to provide the space for other people who are more educated
Mm-hmm.
and expertise in their field to come and be at this event for moms. And
Yeah.
so it made sense. And then now it's a pandemic. So now we're a show and now I'm here.
It's awesome. I'm proud of you though. It's crazy, and I'm glad because not a lot of single moms, because I'm sure a lot of single moms are on your page, but have that resource and have that support system.
Yeah.
Because
And
a lot of
I want to definitely credit my ex because him and his wife they co-parent with me a lot
that's
and
awesome.
we do 50-50. We don't do child support. We split the bills in half. It's
Yeah.
rough. So I have a lot of support from my co-parent and then I mean that's not to discredit what I do on my own, but
Mm-hmm.
whole other subject. Okay, I'm gonna stop keeping it. But
You're
yeah,
okay.
you guys, Braeden, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We have a lot of people come on the show that aren't moms. Like the last interview that we did, Julianne's not a mom, but
Mm-hmm.
who the heck are you gonna go ask for dog advice? Like a mom dog trainer? Like I'm
Yeah.
not the only person I'm gonna go get dog training advice from. So I am here to provide resources for moms because these are things that you guys go through and
Mm-hmm.
be prepared to be sympathetic and
Yes.
kind, accept our children because
And loving.
and loving. Okay, thank you for sharing your story with me.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
See ya. You too.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.